Yeah, that's the thing that I'm talking about. It's a new update that I hated. Anyway, so as I said, today we are going to talk about case markers. We are basically, I mean, there are like 5 case markers that we have in Turkish, but I'm going to talk about 3 and the most important ones, actually. I'm not going to talk about accusative because accusative is something that has to be, considered, another time. Like I cannot include them. I cannot include it here because it has lots of things in it. So today I'm going to be talking about locative case, dative case, and ablative case. Most of you probably ask yourself, what is locative, dative, and ablative? But we are going to come to that. Now, first workshops, this is something that we have talked about earlier. We have talked about the vowels of the Turkish language. And then we have said we have the back vowels, we have said we have the front vowels, and that's why we have this vowel harmony, the A-type vowel harmony. Today we are going to talk about a lot of this. We are going to talk about this one a lot. Basically, the idea is when I have this a, u, or u as a last vowel of my word, then the suffix that is following should have a in it. If I have e, I, o, u as a last vowel, then the suffix that is following should have e in it. As I said, we are going to talk about it. And then we also talked about, oh yeah, this is the chart that I already have for the vowel harmonies. And we also have some consonants that are kind of a little bit different compared to the other ones, and we call them sharp consonants. And those are fe, se, te, ke, che, she, he, and pe. These are like sharp consonants because when I'm pronouncing them, they are like, it sounds like it's exploding in my mouth. And when I have them as a last letter of the word, then the vowel, the D that I have for my case marker becomes T. We are also going to talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first case marker, and I want to talk about the locative case. Locative case basically gives me the location of the subject or the location of the action, like where the thing take place. So it's the only case marker that we can use with a subject directly. It doesn't have to have an object. It doesn't have to have a verb, sorry. It doesn't have to have an object as well. You can basically say, Ahmet okulda, and that's a full sentence. Ahmet is at school. I'm telling you about the position, the location of Ahmet over here. But in this one, I'm using it with a verb. I'm basically saying where this verb is taking place. Ahmet otelde kalıyor. And as you can see, it basically comes with the verb. This locative case, I show it with this capitalized D and a capitalized A. That basically means I can change them. So when I told you about the vowel harmony earlier, let's go back. This capitalized A means it can be either A or it can be E. And when I told you about this consonants, the consonant assimilation, it can be basically either D or it can be T as well. So for this one, I have 4 options. It's basically da, de, ta, or te, according to the last vowel and according to the last letter. And as you can see in the word okul, my last consonant is a soft consonant, and I have u, a back vowel. So that's why I say okulda. But when it comes to Kadıköy, if I want to say ben Kadıköy'de oturuyorum, then over here we have which is a front vowel, and y, which is a soft consonant. So that's why this time I go for Kadıköy'de. And Istanbul, for Istanbul, it becomes again, İstanbul'da, because I have a back vowel again as a last vowel. This case marker can also be used with with adjectives. For example, if you want to say he is good at chess or she is good at chess, all you have to say, I mean, the same idea. You can basically put it right at the object, at chess. O satrançta iyi. This time I said ta, just because of the last letter that I have over here, satranç, which is a sharp consonant. That's why I say satrançta. I don't say satrançda. It's even difficult for me to say it like that. Tamam mı? So, and other than that, basically it's very similar to in, on, and at in English. We cannot say it's the same, but it's very similar in that case. So you can remember it like that. Locative case is just like that. That's easy. When it comes to ablative and dative, things change a little bit because it's sometimes a little bit more difficult to differentiate it from the verb if it is a ablative or a dative case. So dative case is almost the same with the locative case. We again use this da, de in it, but then I have an n at the end. And this n is not capitalized because it's always the same. It's always n. There's no change. So in this one, I also have 4 options. I either say done, I either have done, then, ton, or ten. That's it. 4 options. And in English, when you it's very similar to from and of. If you want to make a preposition in English, you would choose one of these. It basically puts a distance between the subject and then the object. So most of the time we use this case marker with the verbs, that puts a distance to the object. Like I hate Turkish. I don't know. I get away from something. I quit smoking. Like whenever you have you put a distance to that object, you use this. Let's not say whenever, but most of the time, usually. So my first example is Ahmet okuldan nefret ediyor. So nefret etmek is to hate. So when you hate school, you stay away from it. So that's why we use it with an ablative case. Ahmet okuldan nefret ediyor. That's it. And if I want to say Ahmet is going away from the hotel, he's leaving the hotel, then it's going to be Ahmet otelden ayrılıyor. This time I'm putting a distance between Ahmet and the hotel. They are getting away from each other. And also the same thing happens with Ahmet polisten kaçıyor. This time I say polisten, and you probably know why. Ahmet polisten kaçıyor. Basically, I'm trying to get away from the police. And also the last one, if you are afraid of something, you also stay away from it. So that's why when I say Ahmet örümcekten korkuyor, I use the ablative case. But it's not always like this. It's not always something you hate, something you start to, stay away from. There are some verbs that we also use ablative and that doesn't put any distance. And the most common one is the verb hoşlanmak. Let me write it down over here. Hoşlanmak is basically to like. If you are using with a people, it basically means in a flirty way, like I like you. So when you say, oh, I like you, all you have to say, ben senden hoşlanıyorum. So in this case, you also have to use ablative case. So we can say there is no logic behind this. It's most of the time when you put a distance, you use dan, den, tan, ten. But normally, no logic. And then we have this dative case or dative, I'm not really sure. In this one, it's also a little bit difficult to differentiate because we also have some other verbs that doesn't make sense in English, but in Turkish, they make sense. When you are directed to a place, when you are going there, when you are walking there, it literally means towards, into, or to. in English, then you use this ya, ye, or a, e. So this is something some of you have never seen so far, at least not in the workshops that I have given previously and for this season. There is a little bit different thing over here. This Y in the brackets basically is a buffer letter. A buffer letter basically connects two vowels together. So in Turkish, usually we don't put two vowels together. It can only work like that if it's the root. For example, we have the word saat. They are together, but this is already the root. So that's why I won't, count it like that. I'm not going to accept it. But when I have a word that ends with a vowel, and if I want to put another case marker, another suffix that starts with a vowel, I have to put a bridge letter that combines them. Otherwise, this will sound like Fransa a, like I have to stop. But when I put the bridge letter, it sounds much better. Fransa'ya, saya. That's the idea of the buffer in Turkish. So, and in Turkish, we have 4 different buffers. Okay.
Efendim, if I have to say that I'm going to France. So Fransa'ya.
Exactly.
Fransa'ya gidiyorum.
That's it.
Teşekkür ederim.
That's the idea. Rica ederim, ne demek? So the buffer works just like that. We don't say Fransa, we say Fransa'ya. And I have some examples over here. As I said, we usually use it with the verbs that means like that has a direction in it, like I am going, I am looking. If your body is direct to that object, then that's most of the time we use this a, e, ya, ye. So I have some examples over here. Ahmet eve yürüyor. Ayşe okula gidiyor. Fatma Ankara'ya gidiyor. Sorry, I forgot to write down the English meanings of them, but probably most of you know. Would you say walking, just walking home? That's it? Or would you say towards home?
Just walking home.
Walking home. That's it, right? Okay. Ayşe is going to school or walk. Yeah. Could be also Ayşe goes to school. Because we use this tense in present continuous tense and also in present simple tense. And also we have Fatma is going to Ankara, or Fatma goes to Ankara. It's the same. So that's it about the dative. But then we have, as I said, we have some verbs that doesn't make any sense in terms of the direction and facing logic, but they also have to go with the dative case. And I have 3 examples for them. And those are kızmak, inanmak, and güvenmek. Kızmak is to get angry. Let's write it on the left side this time. To get angry at someone, maybe we can say. Let's write it like that. İnanmak is to believe in someone, I believe, or at, I'm not sure. And then we have güvenmek, which is to trust. So when I use these verbs, even though there is no facing, even though there is no direction, we still have to use them with a dative case. And here, basically, I say, Ahmet Ayşe'ye kızıyor. Ahmet is like probably shouting or probably getting angry at Ayşe. Ben sana inanmıyorum. I don't believe you, even though there is no to in the English translation. This is how we say, I don't believe to you, something like that. And another example, öğretmen Ayşe'ye güveniyor. The teacher is trusting Ayşe, or she believes in Ayşe. She has a trust on Ayşe. That will be the translation. But in Turkish, we basically have to put all of these. Okay, so far we are basically done with the case markers. Let's say like we didn't go, of course, we didn't go talk about all the details, but I believe you have the idea. Before I talk about this, nere, I'm gonna wait for you to, I don't know if you have some questions I can answer. Any questions so far?
It's a bit confusion where we have to use for the direction. Then we know that we are going to school, hospital, coming back home. So, but as you just mentioned, we trust you in that case because this is not a direction. So how will we define that we have to use this article here?
So that's the thing that makes this topic important and difficult, Rahat. That's the problem here. So I'm actually working on a PDF that basically gathers all these important verbs that takes dative case and all the verbs that takes ablative case. I'm still working on it, and I'm gonna share it with you when it is ready. But yeah, basically you have to know them. Unfortunately, you have to read them, you have to hear them, you will have to learn it by yourself. Unfortunately.
All right.
In maalesef. Yeah, Danny, as I said, it's a root word. That's why. Maalesef. Like there's no suffix. That's why. Saat is another example. Şampuan, another example. Like there are some words that has two vowels together, but they are the roots. They are not, there is no case marker or any suffix next to it. Any other question? Okay.
Hocam,
Efendim.
Bu ders mi?
Yok, hayır.
Kitap.
Kitap yok, kitap yok. Reham, bu workshop. That's it.
Ne?
Bu workshop. Sadece bir konu anlatıyorum. Bu kadar. Başka bir şey yok.
Tamam.
Yok.
Zaten bu dersler biliyorum.
Tamam.
Belki örnekler söyleyebilirim.
Tamam. Workshop bittikten sonra yapabiliriz, konuşabiliriz. So, I have this question word nere. And you probably have never seen this before because it's actually the root of the questions nerede. Where is it? Nerede, nereden, and nereye. I'm sure you have seen all of these, nerede, nereden, nereye. And basically, these are all the question words that actually takes a case marker right after the word nere. So whenever you ask a question with nerede, then your answer should also have a locative case. Nerede? Otelde. I'm asking about the location, and my answer is the location. I'm asking it like, where did you come from? Like, I'm asking you the origin, then my answer is also the origin. I'm coming from home. And I'm asking you the direction, nereye gidiyorsun? And my answer is also a direction. That's the idea. Nereye gidiyorsun? Okula gidiyorum. Nereden geliyorsun? Evden geliyorum. Nerede kalıyorsun? Otelde kalıyorum. We also have the same for kim. I'm not going to talk about it a lot, but just to give you an idea. If you are asking a person, like, to whom did you get, we can actually talk about it, the previous example. So in this example, Ahmet Ayşe'ye kızıyor. Basically, I can ask this question to get the answer Ayşe'ye. Ahmet kime kızıyor? Oops. So this time my question word kim takes a case marker. That's the idea. Tamam. We can also ask kimden. We can also ask kimde. Oh, everything can take a case marker except the verbs. So we have this nerede, nereden, nereye, and the answers should be also the same. And that's what I most of the time tell my students. Like, whenever you have a question that is asked by a native person to you, don't panic because you already have the half of the answer in the question that is being asked. Nerede, nereden, and nereye. You already have half of it. Like you can just put think about your answer and then put the case marker that already that person asked you already. And other than that, there's one last thing that I'm gonna talk about. Oh, it's actually shorter than I expected. Anyway, there's one last thing that I want to talk about. We have object pronouns in Turkish. So you might not know what is an object pronoun in English, which is totally fine, but I'm just going to give you the idea about it. We have subject pronouns and we have object pronouns. The subject pronoun is basically the person, basically I, you, we, they, he, she, it, like the thing who does the action. And the object pronoun is the one who is being affected by the action. So when I go back to the, sorry, when I go back to this example, ben sana inanmıyorum. Over here, I am the subject. And in Turkish, that's why we can actually kick the subjects out. We don't have to say ben all the time because we already have it over here. This is also ben. So you could basically say, sana inanmıyorum. I don't believe you. It's exactly the same. And this sana is you, but this time it's an object position. I am the one who's not believing. Ahmet Ayşe'ye kızıyor. Ahmet is the one who is angry, and Ayşe is the victim. Öğretmen is the one who believes, and Ayşe is the hardworking girl. That's the idea. Do I have examples? Oh, yeah. So the only thing that also is a little bit weird in this one, for dative case, with ben, sen, and o, it doesn't become like bene, sene, oya. It becomes bana, sana, ona. No idea why, but we make it like that. But the rest is, you know, we obey the same rule in these ones. Bize, size, onlara, like, it's again the dative case over here, just e or a. And there is also very important information that I can give. If there is a word that has one of these case markers, it is never the subject. This is very important. I'm going to give you some examples with this. So in Turkish, you can basically change the order of the sentence, even though we don't use that a lot. In poetry, in songs, you might actually hear this. You can basically play with the sentence. You can make it however you form you want. So normally I would say Ahmet Ayşe'ye bakıyor, which literally means Ahmet is looking at Ayşe. But I can also change the formulation. I would say Ayşe'ye bakıyor Ahmet. Even this is the formulation, I can understand who is the subject because Ahmet has no case marker. So I can understand, okay, Ahmet is the one who is looking and Ayşe is the one who is being looked because she has the case marker. And over this sentence, it's going to be the same. Ayşe'ye Ahmet bakıyor. It's going to be the same. I'm going to think Ahmet is looking because he has no case marker. Or we can say another example. Ayşe Hasan'dan nefret ediyor. In this one, I put the case marker to Hasan. So Hasan is the unlucky guy who is being hated. And Ayşe is the one who hates. This is my subject and this is my object. That's all about Turkish subject and object, rules. Ayşe Hasan'a bakıyor. That's the idea. I think I'm done. Oh, yeah. Well, that's it. Basically, this was the third workshop that we had. I'm going to actually stop recording as well. Give me a second.